Hi boys and girls, this is Miss Shahani. How is everyone doing today? I'm so excited to be here with you. Today you are going to become a real scientist. A scientist is someone who asks questions and try to find answers by looking closely at things and doing experiments. And guess what? That's exactly what we are going to do today, an experiment. First, let me ask you something. Have you ever dropped something in water and seen it to float on top or sink all the way to the bottom? And have you ever wondered why some things sink while others float? Well, today we are going to find out. Our experiment is called Sink or Float. We are going to use different objects and try to guess what we will think that happened when we drop them in the water. But before we start, I want to teach you a special science words. Predict. Predict or prediction means to make a smart guess about what you think will happen. For example, if I toss this ball in the air, what do you think will happen? You guessing it will fall? And that's your prediction. Now let's test it. You see, we were right. It fell. Scientists test their prediction just like that. Now, here is something else really cool I want to talk about. Earlier, I asked you if you ever wonder why some things float while others sink. Well, the reason objects sink or float has to do with something called density. Density means how much stuff is packed inside of an object. Think of it like this. If something is really heavy for its size, like a rock, it has a lot of stuff squeezed in. We say it's dense, and it usually sinks. On the other hand, if something is light for its size, like a sponge or a plastic toy, it has less stuff inside and has air inside. We say it's less dense and it usually floats. Everything is made of a tiny invisible parts called molecules, like a Lego blocks. When those molecules are packed tightly, the object is heavy. When they are spread out, it's lighter. So if you drop a heavy Lego castle in water, it might sink, but empty plastic bottle might float because it's full of air. Let me share another example that can help you understand even better. You know when we pack a suitcase full of clothes and it's really full and heavy? That's like high density because a lot of things are packed into a small space. But if we only put a few shirts in it, it's light and that's low density. Now we know what our hypothesis is, meaning we have a scientific idea about why things act the way they do. Now we are almost ready to begin our experiment, but before we start testing individual objects, let me show you what we will need for our experiment. I have a clear tub of water in front of me. That's where we will drop our object. And here are some fun things that we are going to test. A rock, sponge, metal paper clip, rubber ducky, a spoon, a coin, a pencil, and a cork. I have more things here, and those are that you're gonna use when we split into the small groups. And don't forget our sink or float prediction recording sheet. Now, I want you to look carefully at each one as we test our prediction to see if our ideas were right. We will start with predicting if each item will sink or float, and then we will test it in real water. First, I will show you a few objects as a class and talk about what you have observed. Next, I will call on a couple of you to come up to be a scientist. And after that, you will get into small groups and test a few additional objects yourself and record your results, which we will go over at the end of the class together and talk about it. Okay, who is ready? Let's start with rock. What do you think will happen when I put it in the water? Give me thumbs up if float and thumbs down if sink. Okay, majority you think it will sink. Let's find out. And the result is it sank. Before we move on to the next object, tell me, why do you think it sank? Is the rock heavy or light? That's right, it's heavy. Just keep in mind what I said earlier. Something that's heavy for its size usually sink, while something that's light might float. Now, let's try sponge. What do you think it's going to happen now? Again, give me thumbs up if float and thumbs down if sink. Okay, this time the majority voted it will float. Well, let me see. And the sponge float. Can someone tell me why you think it floats? Is sponge heavy or light? That's right. The sponge is very light and it's full of air. It's lighter than water, so it stays on the top. But, as you can see, after a while, if it drinks a lot of water, it can get heavy and might sink. Let's do two more. Now, I have a metal paper clip. Make your guess with thumbs up or down. Seems like we have 50-50 guesses. Let's see. And it sank. Why is that? Can anyone tell me why, what is it made of? That's right. It's made of a metal, and we know metal is really heavy even when it's small. The water can't hold it up, so it sinks. Okay, and now look what we have here next. It's a rubber ducky. Quack, quack. Have you ever played with one in your tub? I have a feeling you already know what this might do. Make your prediction with your thumbs up or down. Alright. Everybody thinks it will float. Ready? 1, 2, 3, splash. Look, the ducky is floating, just like in a tub, because it's full of air and super light. That's why it stays on the top of the water. Who is having fun? Great. Now, let me have some of you to test a few more objects while the rest of class continue to predict what will happen. Adrian, here comes our next object. A plastic spoon. Let's predict with thumbs up, down, again, if it will sink like a rock or float like our rubber ducky. Okay, let's drop it, Adrian. And see who was right. It's floating. Can you tell me why? What is it made of? Right, even though the spoon is solid, we know plastic is super light and doesn't absorb water, so it stays on the top. Thank you, Adrian. Anna, come up next. Here's a coin. Let's make our prediction. Sink or float? Ready, set, Anna, drop the coin now. Whoa! It went straight to the bottom. That's because coins are made of metal. And metal, again, is really heavy, so it sinks. Well done, Anna. Mike, now it's your turn. I have a cork for you to test. Have you ever seen one in a bottle? Guess what you think will happen? Drop it in. Look at that, it's floating. Why it might be? Well, corks are super light and full of these tiny air bubbles, like a sponge, that helps them stay on the top of the water. Sophia will do our last test, and then you're going to get in your small groups and try it on your own. Sophia, are you ready? Let's test something you all use in school. A pencil. Will it sink or float? Sophia, drop a pencil in water. And it floats. Do you know why? That's because pencils are made of wood, and wood is lighter than water. Pretty cool, right? I hope you all enjoyed it and are ready for even more fun in your small groups. Everything is set up at your stations, including the objects I have placed there. You will find a leaf, Lego block, dice, pool noodle piece, a toy car, foam gun ball, and butter knife. And also object I asked you to the other day to bring for today's class. Please take turns testing each object. Make your prediction, watch what happens, and don't forget to record your observations. We'll come back together in 10 minutes to review what we learned today. I'll be walking around checking up on you. Ready, set, go. Now that we are back together, let's share what we learned today. Can you tell me one object that floated? Yes, Anna, it was a plastic spoon. And one object that sank. Mike, coin, yes. What does the word predict means? You guys got it. It means to make a smart guess about what will happen. Who can tell me what does sing mean? Okay, Peter. Yes, it goes down to the bottom. What does float means? Abigail, you're right, it stays on the top. And why do you think some objects sink and other floats? That's right, because of their density, what they are made of. What a great class today. We learned that weight, texture, and what something is made of like wood or metal, can help us predict if it will float or sink. You used your science eyes and voice like a real scientist. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching.